I'd like to begin with 3 epigrams, 2 texts, and 1 image, and there are going to be a number of epigrammic moments today. These are the first. The first sentence is from the first sentence of Susan Sontag's book on photography. Humankind lingers unregenerately in Plato's cave, still reveling its age-old habit in mere images of the truth. And here we see a particular attitude, and each of these texts and images are going to be, in fact, giving us attitudes, because my first general point is that your method depends in part on your attitude toward the object. And that attitude can be suggested by the object, but it also can be a matter of choice. And Sontag gives us the prevalent attitude towards photography and image making and reception in general. Today, we see images are in a hard binary against truth, contrasted with truth, aligned with pleasure, and that pleasure is primitive and morally degenerate. We are reveling. And all of this is based upon the allegory from Plato's Republic of the cave, in which our enthrallment with images locks us into a theater of domination. And yet look at the second text. This is by Terence Hayes, contemporary American poet. He is celebrating the photography of Teenie Harris, an African-American poet who cataloged the life of the African-American community, particularly as it was confined to a racial ghetto. And he says, "You are an instrument of visible music, camera, a focused mind in love with witness." Here, photography is aligned with intelligence, with a higher form of intelligence, a focused mind. Instead of being contrasted to truth, it is on behalf of witness, of discovering the world. Pleasure is there, but instead of reveling, we have the more capacious emotion of love. And all of this is on behalf of speaking for the beloved community, and on behalf of that community and a greater sense of justice. And then we have the image. The image is not really a likely referent for either the first statement or the second. I don't think either Sontag or Hayes were thinking of an image such as that. But it is, in fact, a very common image today. What is it? Doesn't really matter. And here we have, in other words, 3 attitudes. We have critique in the first text. In the second, we have admiration. And in the third, we have an enigma. And I would like to suggest that these are 3 attitudes that are readily available for the study of visual culture today: critique, admiration, and enigma. And we need to get a sense of how we can, in fact, braid them together on behalf of a better program of inquiry. And so today I'd like to do 2 things: identify a shift in context for the study of visual culture, and suggest how reconsideration of specifically aesthetic concepts, such as beauty and form, might provide a basis for a more creative and engaged scholarship. I've chosen my verbs deliberately. I will identify a change that already is underway, regardless of any arguments brought forward on its behalf. I can only suggest what follows because of my own limitations, and because so much currently remains to be discovered and developed. My basic subject is photography because of its importance in public culture, media arts, and vernacular life, and as a representative case in debates about modernity. But I hope you can consider by extension, and with the necessary changes being made, other media and visual fields. So to the first point, which is that a paradigm shift is underway in the habitus of photography. No technology develops only according to technological imperatives. Social and cultural uptake matters, not least when it becomes a public art. With photography, there have been a number of constitutive debates from the beginning, and at least since Baudelaire, we have had an example of passionate critique of the medium. The intervening history was rich and complex, but by about 1980, the critical discourse was becoming dominant. Photography had become encased in a set of texts, concepts, claims, and assumptions that made it a major problem for society.